All right, so it's a new week. Let's go ahead and check out our emotional endurance scores. Crimson, what do you got for us?
All right, Lori. So while the scores are, of course, what we're here to discuss, I would like to point out I did mine last night. And look how cute our little app is. It's in night mode, which is like an
Cute.
indicator, like, go the fuck to bed. But I think it's really cute how ours looks different. You can tell what time of day you did it. Okay, so I had hoped it had kind of stayed the same, but it actually dropped a point, which I thought was weird because honestly, I'm really excited and I'm feeling super hopeful about our new business adventure. And I feel like we've been tasked with a lot of things that felt very impossible, and we're doing it. And so my self-efficacy feels like it's doing really well. I feel like my hope's doing well. My optimism's higher than usual. Again, optimism's usually correlated with payment, and selling something is always optimistic for me. But interestingly, the environmental efficacy has gone down a lot, and that suggests it's the end days of summer. I don't know about your family, but we're kind of struggling over here with that. Like, all of the summer activities are done. No more camps, no more swim team, no more, I mean, really anything. And we just have a couple weeks until school happens. So we're all just in the state of dread and preparation and chaos. And yeah, I don't feel like my environment is very supportive and conducive to having full reserves. So I guess my score came in all balanced out, and it just proves the theory, right? Even when you're really hopeful, if your resilience and your environmental efficacy drops, you drop with it.
So, this is a little bit of a interesting kind of drop because as you're saying, it shows how dynamic everything is, right? So, when one lane eases up on you a little bit or gives you a little bit of excitement, there's always another lane that's in its own flux. It's very rarely that things are always on the same page, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to track the score is to help people understand that their kind of reserves matter, number one. And number two, they all work together in different ways. And so that's why it's important to take care of your full self and not just yourself at work. You're not just yourself at home or not just who you think others need you to be.
And what I love about seeing this is that, to your point, I thought it was going to be higher, but I can identify why it's not. You know,
Yeah.
it's my environment. We have a lot of spinning plates right now, and we're in that summer dip. And it's nice to have a compassion for myself. It requires me to be aware of the duality of life. Of you can be really excited and have a lot of cool things going on, but still have things happening around you that can pull you down a little. But it also brings compassion of just, it's okay right now. It's not the perfect time, but it doesn't pull away from my 8.9 in hope,
That's true.
right?
That's true. That's a good
For
point.
me,
Yeah.
my 5.9 in optimism. So it helps me find compassion and positivity in it all.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Lori, let's see what yours is. And I can tell you did yours this morning because yours is in day mode.
I think my emotional endurance score, since we've been tracking, obviously you can see, is at an all-time high from when we
Boom.
started tracking, and I'm pretty pumped about that. And I agree upon reflection, you can actually see my hope and optimism and went down a little bit this week. And that was dealing with there were some conversations that I was having with some close family members about needing to reset some boundaries and some systems and stuff like that. And worth having and ultimately ended up in a good place, but it was a lot of emotional energy expended. And I think one of the hardest things is when we're taking care of our own mental health to understand where is that line between what can we reasonably expect to control or to change versus what do we need to expect. And not surprisingly, a lot of these conversations included things that I realized I needed to be working on. I took the energy and the time this weekend, things come up when they come up, to really address those things. And so while it did decrease some of my reserves, overall, my index is much higher. And when I reflect on that, I believe it is because I feel very creatively fulfilled right now. I think that is something that fills my emotional endurance bucket up so much is to be able to play around and be creative and to build things. And that is the period of time that we are in right now with the business. So I think that's having a great deal of impact. And yeah, I'm like feeling really good. And it is also very validating to see the growth, see. I got hurt. We started tracking probably a week or 2 after I got hurt. So I think it's fair to say like late May, early June when we started tracking. So probably about 12 weeks. Yeah. So with that being said, yeah, feels good to see. Feels good to
Yeah.
see. And I agree. It is very like when I looked at my hope score and everything, I was like, oh, I know why. Because it looks a little confusing to see the overall emotional endurance go up while your reserves go down. But that is because of how it all shakes out, right? And
It's the
you
fancy
can
math we're doing.
it's the fancy math, but it's also you can invest your emotional energy in having difficult conversations and they might bring you down a little bit, but ultimately they make you feel more grounded in your ability to manage the emotional dynamics that are happening around you. At least that's how I interpret my score this week.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, getting hurt, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And one of the lessons I learned, and I know this because this is a great example of knowing things versus living them are often two different things. But often the population I work with and have worked with as a clinician is chronic illness, chronic injury populations. I understand how psychological these things are. And yet I had to relearn it through this process
Yep.
of healing myself. And it is fascinating how much the mental health impacts the healing of a physical injury and vice versa, how much the healing of a physical injury can benefit your mental health.
Well, I'm glad you're on the upswing. Congrats.